I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father in heaven, we bow our heads at this time to recognize Thee as the one that gives us the direction to guide and direct the affairs of these meetings and of our city and of our nation. We ask Thee to bless us, that we may have clear minds and that we may be able to refine our thoughts and have a good discussion. We ask Thee to watch over our nation and to continue to protect our freedoms that have so graciously been given to us from Thee. We pray that that will always be a powerful part of our community, and protect and watch over those who serve within our city, both within our city staff and also those who so graciously give of their time throughout this community and serve without recognition at many moments, and those that are ready to rise up and to be able to serve their fellow neighbors. We pray that we may continue to develop relationships with each other within this community and be able to know of each other's needs and how we can best assist each other. We pray that Thy Spirit may continue to be with us throughout this meeting, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tim. Council, we have minutes from the October 28th policy meeting for approval. Any changes, corrections to the minutes?
No.
Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes on October 28th, 2025 policy session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Well, the first item on our agenda tonight is a special presentation, a formal recognition from JustServe. And so I'm going to turn the time over to Joni Phillips from JustServe to do that tonight. We appreciate having you here and all of your support.
I'm just so excited. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I'm Joni Phillips. I'm the JustServe specialist in our area and proud Clearfield resident. I have to put that in too. We've raised our 6 children here, Shannon, and have watched Clearfield grow. It was a small, just little farming community when we moved here, and it is growing and booming and thriving. I wanted to share just a little bit of background, and you probably know this, but the Clearfield area was settled in 1877, and it wasn't known as Clearfield until later. It was first called Sandridge, and then later changed. And Clearfield Elementary School was the first school in the area back in 1907, so way before all of our time. And then the next school in the area was North Davis Junior High, which is right here. Hill Air Force Base was established in 1940, and the supportive growth in our area followed. In 1943, the Naval Supply Depot was built to support the efforts in World War II. And though it closed after that in 1962, we know that Freeport Center then took over that area and is an amazing manufacturing area. Clearfield High School began in 1959, and it was the first high school in northern Davis County, and it's still Falcon strong. An amazing part of our community, and we're very proud of that. Clearfield only has a land area of not quite 8 square miles. It's a tiny area, but it is mighty in business, education, manufacturing, and more. The greatest strength of Clearfield, though, is our people. The residents of Clearfield come from all walks of life. We are, and bit different backgrounds, we are diverse, but we are supportive of each other. Hands reach out to help neighbors, and we have seen that through these last few months. Multiple food banks, other opportunities to serve. Clearfield's Freedom Festival is my favorite, well attended with an amazing parade and fantastic fireworks, well done, along with other wonderful activities. Clearfield's award as a JustServe City is a tribute to the people of our city. The JustServe City program, in conjunction with the free JustServe volunteer platform, links individuals with local service projects. Through this program, we strive to partner with and recognize cities for their efforts. Projects on JustServe work best when they are collaborative, working with friends and neighbors. These opportunities should enhance the quality of life in the community. We do not have a political focus. We aren't a fundraiser, not profit-oriented. We're just here to help. And that's what I really like about it. Together, we can recognize individuals for the selfless efforts they are making to bring hope and goodness to others. JustServe believes in spreading hope, goodness, and unity through the vital role of volunteerism. With motivated individuals and communities, we can build united and harmonious societies. I want to especially thank Mayor Shepherd for being so excited about this and such a great supporter. And so I have a JustServe pin, since he has shared a Clearfield pin with me.
Well, thank you.
For you. And then also for Spencer. He did all the paperwork and the going, so thank you. You as well. And thank you to all of you. I was telling, this is Shannon Wright. She's the JustServe for Northern Utah, so covers a lot bigger area. And I said, we just have the best city council. I have been so impressed with the growth of Clearfield and the forward thinking and the willingness to make this just an amazing community. And I love being a part of this. So we have the Clearfield City Award that is yours to display in the city building. There's refreshments after. But so delighted to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me. Can we get some pictures?
Yes, absolutely. We'll bring the council down.
Yeah. It's like I was waiting for somebody to get up. No, I'm just kind of letting you guys follow.
And I do have a bag.
Let you guys go that way.
Try not to. Just started sliding on its own.
Thank you so much. This is it really is a privilege for us, and as a way to get our community together and take part. Had a long chat today with the Bountiful Food Pantry and their efforts to move north, but we didn't talk much about the food pantry. We talked about people. We talked about their needs and our responsibility to lift them up and to do all that we can and to help others, and that's what we do. And so thank you for including us in JustServe, and we'll get that next level. We'll get the...
I'm so excited to see Clearfield that the National League of Cities listed as part of the JustServe cities.
We'll get that global piece going. We'll be... Well, awesome. All right, thank you, guys. Our next item on the agenda is a public hearing to receive public comment on a proposed zoning text amendment to add trailer sales as a permitted use in the town mixed commerce district, the TC zone, with development standards. And turn the time over to Tyson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Looks like we lost it. Hopefully it comes back.
Cable's just shorting out.
There you go.
There we go. So to provide some background about this zoning text amendment request, we've got our Clearfield downtown form-based code. Motor vehicle sales have been permitted in the downtown form-based code in two specific zones. That's the TC zone and the CC zone. And there's development standards that go along with motor vehicle sales uses. A motor vehicle is defined in Clearfield City Code as a self-propelled vehicle intended primarily for use on the highways. Trailer sales is not one of the listed uses in the downtown form-based code. Therefore, it's not considered a permitted use in any of the zones in the downtown area. And Clearfield City Code has a separate definition for trailer, which is distinct from a motor vehicle. However, there is a business, a Utah business called Trailer Source that purchased property in the TC zone earlier this year. And they've had the desire to open a trailer sales business in downtown Clearfield. So the Utah State Code regulates motor vehicle dealerships, but the definition that the state has for a motor vehicle actually includes trailers. So there's been some sort of communication on that point, where Clearfield has one definition, the state of Utah has a different definition. In those discussions with the business, Trailer Source, even the property rights ombudsman's office for the state of Utah, and the city council gave staff direction to initiate a zoning text amendment that would permit trailer sales in the TC zone in downtown Clearfield, and then also have development standards to go along with that use. So with that, wanted to show a zoning map of the TC zone. There's two different areas where the TC zone is in our downtown. So on the left-hand side, you can see the area that's outlined in red. That's the TC zone, located primarily between 300 North and Center Street, right along Main Street. And then on the right-hand side, the other area is a bit further south, located primarily between 450 South and then SR 193, and those properties along State Street along that portion. So with the proposed amendment, there's a few different changes. The first change is to add trailer sales as one of the uses in the retail uses section of Chapter 3 of the form-based code. The second change is to add trailer sales with outdoor sales lot to the use tables, the permitted use table in the form-based code. So this is where you can see that table where trailer sales with outdoor sales lot will be added, and then also indicating that there would be development standards with that use. Same thing here, we have a permitted uses by building type. It would be a permitted use in the commercial building type with the exact same development standards that go along with the use. So as far as the development standards, what staff has proposed is that there will need to be a minimum lot size requirement in the TC zone for this use. That minimum lot size requirement is 1.5 acres. And along with that, it will have to include a permanent on-site office, a structure. It couldn't just be a sales lot with no office. We've also got development standards written that there shall be a 3-foot minimum separation between trailers that are displayed along State Street. So the area between State Street and the front of the building, this is the area that we're talking about where there would be some required separation to basically just to prevent too many trailers being packed into one tight location. And then also we've got location and height restrictions proposed for the stacking of trailers, because the stacking of trailers is a common practice for this type of use for these businesses. We've included development standards that the stacking will only be allowed within 50 feet of, well, not within, but it has to be at least 50 feet from either a primary street or a secondary street. And then also a height limitation on how high the trailers can be stacked, which is proposed to be 12 feet high. So here in the image that's provided on this slide, the green area is showing, well, the image is showing a specific lot in Clearfield. It's the lot that Trailer Source is interested in. So wanted to give a visual of this lot so that the council can see what these development standards look like for that lot specifically. So the green area shows where they would be able to do some stacking of trailers for display purposes. So you can see that it's to the rear of the building, and then there's a good distance between the stacking of the trailers and the streets. And then along with the development standards, trailer repair is not permitted. It's just a sales use that will be permitted. So the anticipated effect of the approval of this zoning text amendment is that the property that we just talked about and looked at, 562 South State Street, they'll apply for a business license, and a business license will be able to be issued for that property for trailer sales. We've looked at other properties in the TC zone. It's unlikely that any other properties would qualify or be able to meet the development standards. So this is a use that will be limited in the downtown. And also if we do another zoning text amendment in the future, the city may consider removing the use as a permitted use in downtown. If that were to happen, the business would be considered a legal non-conforming use, and they would be able to continue the sale of trailers on the parcel in perpetuity unless the use were abandoned for over a year. In analyzing the zoning text amendment request and comparing it to the general plan, the relevant section of the general plan that we've analyzed is the economy and fiscal responsibility, which Clearfield has an overall goal of having a robust economy, producing a diverse revenue stream for the city, supporting livability, community well-being, and offering amenities and services that create a vibrant, healthy city. So as far as the objectives and strategies and the analysis of those from the general plan, there are strategies that include having a diverse range of businesses permitted in the city. So this proposed amendment, it would allow for a type of business that's not currently permitted and would expand the potential businesses in the city in that aspect. The Planning Commission heard the request. They recommended approval, and the vote was 6 for approval and none against. As far as the City Council alternatives, the City Council will be able to approve the zoning text amendment request, deny the request, or table the request to a specific date to request more information.
Okay, thank you, Tyson. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in regards to our amendment? Okay.
Your Honor, seeing no request to comment, I'd move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item number 3 is to receive public comment on the adoption of a water use and preservation plan to the city's general plan in accordance with the Utah State Code requirements. And Tyson, welcome back. It's been so long.
Thank you. So it's been said that in most of the world, water is for drinking and whiskey is for fighting. But the opposite is true for the American West, where whiskey is for drinking and water is for fighting. So that's a quote that has been attributed to Mark Twain. It's a quote that I've always thought was kind of funny, but actually it's something that has come to mind a couple of times as I've been working on this plan about water use and preservation for Clearfield City specifically. So we've got a plan now that's ready to be proposed for adoption. It's a plan that just wanted to thank Susie Pethram with FFK Architects for all her support and work that she's put into the plan. But we're to the point where we have a plan that we feel meets the state requirements from state code, but also meets the requirements of the contract that we've got for the grant that we received from the Division of Water. So with that, the Planning Commission saw the plan and they recommended approval. 6 voted to approve and none voted against. And I'm going to turn the time over to Susie in just a moment, and she's going to present the bulk of the plan. But we'll just talk about the City Council alternatives briefly before I turn the time over to Susie. So could approve the plan tonight, would have the option to deny the general plan amendment request, or table, and this was talked about in the work session as well, the option to table the general plan amendment request to a specific date. The date that was talked about was December 9th, and then we could come back and consider approval at that time as well. But just we'll be able to make that determination based on the discussion of the council. And with that, I'll turn the time over to Susie.
Thank you. Good to see everybody again. We'll provide just a quick overview of the general plan element related to water use and preservation. And just to start off, as Tyson mentioned, this is a new requirement by Utah State Code. It's for all municipalities of 4th class or larger to add this water element into their general plan by the end of 2025. The primary focus is to integrate land use planning, development patterns, and water use planning. And 4 key elements that this plan element will address are understanding the effect of permitted development or patterns on water demand and the city's water infrastructure, and then looking to incorporate policies and strategies for reducing water demand and use for existing development, for future development, and then looking at ways that cities can modify the way they operate their facilities and their parks and open space to reduce and eliminate wasteful water practices. So those are 4 key components. The other thing that we wanted to highlight is that this plan element is informed by several relevant and related land use and water plans and policies. I think we've got 9 total here, starting back in 2016 with the Creating Downtown Clearfield, which really honed the vision for what downtown Clearfield is starting to become and will continue to transform into. The Stormwater Management Plan, also done in 2016, and then that downtown form-based code that implemented the standards and regulations for making downtown happen. Some station area planning, starting with Clearfield Connected back in 2019, set the stage for the land use and development patterns around Clearfield Station. And then beginning in 2021, the last update to the city's water conservation plan, which is another required water-related plan from the state. The city implemented some ordinance updates to your landscape requirements in 2022, and then recently in 2023 did a culinary water impact fee facilities plan and a follow-up impact fee analysis. And then rounding out some more land use planning with that station area plan update in 2024 and the primary general plan that we adopted together just earlier this year. So these informed the content and information and data in this water use and preservation plan, and likewise the water use and preservation plan will inform future updates to some of these policies and plans, as well as other policies and plans that the city may want to consider that dive into water and infrastructure planning in more detail in the future. So the structure of the element is set to follow the same structure as the main general plan document. We've kept it out separate so that it makes it a little bit easier for the city to modify or understand metrics related to the plan and assess progress through the years. Chapter 1 is the introduction, covers the what and the why, the Utah State Code requirements, and also provides some overview of key terms. We provide some specific water-related context in Chapter 2, both the local context and understanding the regional context where it comes to water, and how Clearfield's local actions can support regional goals. In Chapter 3, we talk about the alignment with the overall general plan vision, talking about planning for the future, and then also highlighting some success stories, both what the city's been doing and the community has been doing over the past decade or so to really try and conserve water and be more mindful about water use. Chapter 4 is the policy guide with that overall goal, some key objectives and policies and strategies, as well as an implementation framework. So one of the things that we wanted to just touch on from Chapter 1 are just some of the key terms. So acre feet per year. An acre foot of water is equal to 325,851 gallons. So that reflects the volume of water that would cover a depth of 1 foot over the space of 1 acre. So this is terminology that's used when you're documenting or estimating your water supply needs for a community over the time period generally of a year. How much water do you need over a year to make sure everybody has the water they need for indoor and outdoor use? Gallons per capita per day is used to understand the average amount of water used per person in one day for a defined area. In this case, we're looking at Clearfield City, but we're also looking at the Weaver River Basin region as well. And this is used to evaluate your water use and trends and patterns and progress towards water conservation goals. Potable water is also known as culinary water or drinking water. It's been treated to meet the standards for human consumption. Secondary water is also known as irrigation water. It's not been treated and is typically used outdoors for irrigation of landscapes, gardens, or agricultural fields. Not suitable for consumption by humans or pets, and it also shouldn't be used for outdoor water-based recreation, such as swimming pools. Water-wise landscaping is an attractive approach to landscaping that conserves water by using native plants and plants that are designed for more arid regions. It doesn't mean no landscaping or xeriscaping with no plants. There is the term xeriscape or xeriscaping. That term was actually trademarked by Denver, the City of Denver Water Department in the early 1980s when they were experiencing extreme drought and they were looking for strategies back then. So that term xeriscape is trademarked by the City of Denver, which is something that is probably not as well known. So touching a little bit on the context, we want to understand a little bit about the growth and the evolution of Clearfield's water sources. Back when the population was less than 1,000 people in the late 1800s, most people had personal wells, or once the Davis and Weber Counties Canal was built in 1884, that was a source of water. Tapped into some of the Case Creek system for water, and then as the population started to boom with the establishment of the Naval Supply Depot, wells were drilled in that area to support the growing population. The Weaver Basin Water Conservancy District was established in the 1950s, and that became one of the primary sources for water in Clearfield City. The city wisely continued to diversify its water sources, built some additional wells on 700 South and over in Hill Airfield, and then began to start implementing water conserving strategies. One of the key things was that weather track system that was implemented back in 2021 for use at city facilities and parks and open space, and has been a primary water saving measure for the city, thinking proactively. So the water sources, as we mentioned, once the city began using Weaver Basin water, to date that reflects about 3/4 of the water provided to the city's water connections. The city does tap into those wells primarily during the summer months to supplement the higher water use for irrigating at Fort Landscapes. The culinary water connections by type, 91.4% of your connections are for your residential uses. About 8.2% are for commercial and industrial uses, and then less than 0.5% of connections are for institutional uses. That would be the city, the county, the school district, and connections such as that. When you look at the water use by those connection types, it shifts a little bit, and it makes sense when you think about the types of connections and how institutional water is used. So you're watering all of that great park and open space that the city manages, and so that water use represents about 9% of all water use. Commercial and industrial, about 23%, based on the type of commercial or industrial use. Those water uses can vary. Some of them can be quite high, and some of them are fairly efficient. Your residential, both single-family and multifamily dwelling types, use 68% of your water. There is secondary water available in Clearfield, but it is not a citywide secondary water system. So the city doesn't provide that water. Less than 10% of connections and residents use secondary water for irrigation, but that's supplied by private irrigation companies, and it's sourced from that Davis and Weber Counties canal. The city does have 171 secondary water shares. It uses these for things such as filling Steed Pond, and I believe uses some of them for irrigating part of the Bicentennial Park. So the capital costs of trying to install a new secondary water system right now is constraining the feasibility of that type of system, but it is something that the city could consider pursuing outside funding, or if there's grants or federal funding, it's something that's on the radar, but right now it's just not feasible because of the costs. So taking a look at your average daily use trends and what the city has set as a goal for water conservation, using that average per person daily use. So the graph on the left, looking at 2015 and going to 2024, it's gone up and down a little bit over the years, spiked a little bit in 2018, but that trend line is showing that you're making progress overall and moving towards the goal that was set to reduce per capita use to 121 gallons per day. On the right, the graph shows what the daily average was if you look at a 5-year rolling average, which provides a better perspective of progress, because those individual years can vary so much based on climate conditions and whether it's a dry year or not. So in 2017 to 2021, that 5-year rolling average was 142 gallons per capita per day, but the 5 years between 2020 and 2024, you'd already brought it down to 121, and that was the goal that was set in the latest water conservation plan. So great work with the water conservation that the city has been doing. Looking at it from a regional perspective, how does Clearfield compare to some other cities? Doing a quick look at some water conservation plans of other communities, both urban communities, suburban communities, and more rural transitioning communities. Most of them have a higher daily use, anywhere from 198 up to 252, and as high as 319. It's a little hard to do a direct comparison because a lot of these cities also use secondary water at a higher level than Clearfield City does. And until everybody has their secondary water metered, right now some of the data is reflected on the amount of secondary water that is provided as an allotment, but not necessarily used. So there's some communities that probably look like they're consuming more water than they actually are. All communities are required to have secondary water metered by the year 2030, and I think once that's in place, everybody will have a clear picture of how the region is doing as a whole. But the city is supporting and collaborating with the region to achieve those regional goals that were set back in 2019 statewide for 9 different regions. Clearfield's part of that Weber River watershed in the Weber River region in 2015 was used as the baseline year, and the gallons per capita per day was 250 gallons. The goals set for the Weber River region are to bring that down to 200 gallons per capita per day by 2030, and then down to 175 by the year 2065. When you look at Clearfield's daily average between 2015 and 2024, it was 133 gallons. Your goal, again, was at 121. So you can see that Clearfield is really supporting the regional collaboration and the regional goals by being wise with your water use. So moving into a little bit about the vision and planning for the future, there's strong alignment with the key initiatives of the general plan, the focus, centered and balanced growth, being a connected community, supporting community well-being and quality of life, and being a resilient city. A lot of it comes down to maintaining a high quality of life, making efficient use of your land and your infrastructure, and supporting those 4 vision initiatives. One of the things that we wanted to highlight is that the growth and or land use changes are primarily going to occur in those centers that were identified in the future land use section of the general plan. All of the centers are captured in blue, but we know that most of the land use change and population growth will happen in the identified centers, with the majority happening in downtown Clearfield and near Clearfield Station. The neighborhood residential areas of Clearfield that are shown in yellow will remain relatively stable. There'll be some minor changes, but we don't anticipate that much impact to future water needs in those neighborhood areas. Looking a little bit at the projections for growth, we look at both population growth and what's called equivalent residential connections, which is another water term, and that's how water supply planning is configured. So the population, Clearfield, as you know, continues to grow. In 2010, just over 30,000. By 2020, that was up to almost 32,000, but the estimated population right now is about 35 to 36,000 people. It's expected to continue growing, getting up to about 37 or 38,000 by the year 2030, and up to 42,500 by 2040. That translates into equivalent residential connections, which on an average is looked at by assuming 3.5 persons per household, and that translates into equivalent residential connections. It's a little bit higher than the average household size because you are considering those commercial and industrial connections and the institutional connections as well. But by 2040, the number of equivalent residential connections the city is expected to have is just over 12,000, so 12,234. How does that translate to future water needs and the water rights and supply that the city has available? This is data that is also reflected in the city's impact fee facilities plan, and shows that right now the city, with its water rights and its water supply capacity and the contract with Weber Basin, has the potential for 18,131 acre feet per year. The projected need, based on the requirements for indoor and outdoor water per equivalent residential connection in 2040, would be 7,863 gallons. So there's excess capacity that the city is planning for and has specific projects detailed in that impact fee facilities plan for the improvements and upgrades to the water system to meet those future needs. As we talked about, there's been a lot that's been happening to support water conservation in Clearfield over the past decade. Some of the success stories that we highlight in this plan element are the city practices with things like the weather track irrigation system, using a tiered water rate structure, having scheduled watering and drought practices in place, and then planning for infrastructure upgrades. The community has really been on board supporting the effort. There's been a lot of participation in some of the rebate incentive programs like the Flip Your Park Strip and the landscape lawn exchange, and also replacing indoor fixtures, low-flow toilets, and then using those smart irrigation controllers. There's also been some great examples from residential, commercial, and institutional of installing attractive water-wise landscaping and setting a good example. The city's been doing a lot of education with newsletter features, and then making some regulatory changes with water-efficient landscaping updates that set a max percentage of turf or lawn that can be used, and then having standards for what can go in park strips. And then looking consistently at those water rates and installing conservation water rates so that the public is incentivized to use less water to get the lower rates. So in the policy guide, what we want to achieve and how we make it happen, we have an overall goal to continue facilitating growth and development patterns that support responsible use of the city's water supply and ensuring the ability to meet current and future demands and respond to water supply issues. This is supported by 8 different objectives, and then we have several policies and strategies that are organized under 5 key topics, and each of these support or reflect strategies that respond to the state code requirements. How are you addressing methods for reducing water use for existing development, future development, and becoming a more water-wise city? We also structured it under an implementation framework, policies and strategies that are ongoing efforts the city can be doing, and then things to address in the short term, the next 1 to 5 years, and items that could be addressed in the long term, 5 to 10 years or more in the future. We have 5 that are under the ongoing strategies and policies, and 6 that are currently under the short term, 1 to 5 years, and then 9 that are under the long term, 5 to 10 years. We did talk a little bit at the work session about how the city can start to address water system resilience and disaster mitigation. That, as far as the level of detail, is probably something that may be better captured in a more detailed separate policy, but the Council could consider the addition of another policy or strategy under that infrastructure investments topic that sets the framework for that, and establishing a water system resilience and disaster mitigation policy framework for guiding water infrastructure investments that reduce risk, safeguard water supplies, protect public health, and support fiscal stability. And we would suggest that this could be a short-term policy or strategy. So that's it for the overview. Questions, discussions, the public hearing, and let me know if there's any questions before we open it up for comments.
Okay. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in regards to our water? Okay. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Your Honor, seeing there's no public comment, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item number 4 is to receive public comment on a proposed zoning text amendment to permit detached accessory dwelling units in select zones and to adopt ADU's development standards. Tyson, back to you.
You, Mayor. It is a goofy acronym, but DADU is referring to a detached accessory dwelling unit. So what that means is you have a single-family home on a lot. A detached accessory unit would allow for someone to build another dwelling unit in their rear yard where that unit would have its own, kitchen, sleeping space, living space, bathroom, all of that. We've allowed for internal accessory dwelling units in Clearfield City since 2021, so that's just a separate unit within the single-family home itself. And we've allowed that to be done on properties with lot sizes of 6,000 square feet or larger. Our moderate income housing plan has a strategy to reduce regulations related to internal or detached ADUs. So that's something that the city has been discussing for a while. We've had work sessions and discussions with both the city council and the planning commission about the topic. And, you know, based on those discussions, we've drafted a proposed ordinance, and that's what's coming before the council tonight for potential adoption. As far as state regulations go, it seems like it's possible that the state may require cities to allow detached accessory dwelling units. We don't know all the details of what that will look like, but with the upcoming legislative session, we'll probably have some answers on what that looks like. Based on our draft ordinance, we believe that we'll probably be okay and we won't need to make any amendments to our plan. But if we do, for whatever reason, we can come back and make those amendments as needed. So as far as the draft ordinance, we're proposing to allow for detached accessory dwelling units in all single-family and agricultural zones. As far as the location on the lot where they would be permitted, it would only be in the rear yard. We've got proposed height regulations stating that they're only able to be single-story, no two-story detached accessory units. And then with that, a maximum height for those single-story units, which varies based on the roof type. If it's a flat roof, we've got a maximum height of 12 feet, or if it's a pitched roof, you could go a little bit higher, up to 18 feet. And then we did have an exception in the ordinance for detached accessory dwelling units that are built above a detached garage. The exception would be that those types of ADUs could go up to 25 feet or the height of the primary house on the lot, whichever is less. The setbacks that we've proposed for the development of detached accessory units are that they'll have to have a 10-foot rear setback for single story, or if it's a detached unit above a detached accessory unit above a detached garage, then they would be required to have a rear setback of 20 feet. The side setback requirement from the side property line would be 10 feet. If it's a corner lot, so a house on a corner, there would be a corner side setback. So on the side that's adjacent to a street, it would have to be set back at least 20 feet from that property line adjacent to the street. And then as far as the separation of the detached unit from the primary dwelling on the house, it has to be at least 10 feet away from the single-family dwelling on the house, or on the lot, excuse me. We do have size requirements as well proposed. So what that looks like is take the building footprint of the primary dwelling, the single-family house. The detached accessory unit won't be allowed to exceed 50% of the footprint of the primary dwelling. And then there would be a minimum. You couldn't build a detached accessory unit any less than 200 square feet. And also a maximum. You could, in no situation could you build an accessory dwelling unit greater than 1,000 square feet. The parking regulations proposed are that one additional off-street parking space would be required in addition to the minimum required for a single-family dwelling. For context, what's required for a single-family dwelling is 2 spaces. So if there's a single-family home with a detached accessory unit, their minimum parking requirement would be 3 spaces. So with the proposed ordinance and the way it was written and the way it went to the Planning Commission is we included two different options. And the reason we did that is because based on the discussions with the Planning Commission and the City Council, there was a lot of discussion about should there be a minimum lot size required for these detached accessory units, or would it be okay on some of the smaller lot sizes in the city? So the staff report was written with option A. Option A includes all of the development standards that we just went over. The only difference, difference from option A to B is that there would be no minimum lot size. With option B, there would be minimum lot sizes. It would be 6,000 square feet minimum for the internal accessory dwelling units. So that's just keeping our code the exact same as it is right now for the internal accessory dwelling units, but then also establishing an 8,000 square foot minimum for detached accessory units. So there was discussion on this as well with the City Council in the work session, and someone had a comment that it would be nice to be able to visualize what this would look like. So the next few slides are just taking different lot sizes. These are just random lots that are within Clearfield. So with this image right here, it's showing a smaller lot size, and it looks like it's a little bit dark. Hopefully you're able to see everything on there. But this lot is a lot in Clearfield where the lot size is 6,300 square feet. The footprint of the home on this lot is 1,400 square feet. The dimensions of the lot are it's 60 feet wide, and it is 105 feet deep. So you can see at the top right corner of the screen, this is what a site plan would look like if there were a 300 square foot detached accessory unit on this property. So you can see that it's maintaining the 10-foot side setback, it's maintaining the 10-foot rear setback, and then it's able to have 15 feet between the accessory unit and the home. So the minimum requirement would be 10, it's got 15. So this is just an example of if there were no minimum lot size requirements. This is a smaller lot in Clearfield City where a detached unit could be feasible. Now, the reason it could be feasible is because of the size of the backyard. So there are a lot of different things that come into play. It's how far the home is set back, how large the home is, and then other geographical features like shape of the lot and things like that. So this example here is showing a larger lot. The size of this lot is 8,750 square feet. The footprint of this home is 1,300 square feet. The dimensions of the lot are 70 feet wide and 125 feet deep. So this is another lot that's sort of a deeper lot. But this is another lot where you could see in the theoretical or the conceptual site plan, they could do a 25 by 25 square foot detached accessory unit, and that's what it would look like on that particular lot, meeting the development standards of the ordinance. Like I said, there's a lot of different types of lots in Clearfield, lot sizes, lot shapes. These are just some other examples. The top image is showing a larger lot, 9,150 square feet. It's in the R19 zone in Clearfield. And you can see just looking at it that where they've placed the home on the lot, it's pretty far set back from the front property line. and it's kind of a larger home. It has a larger footprint. To the rear of that home, there's no way that they could do a detached accessory unit. They just don't have the space to do it, right? Same thing on a smaller lot. In the R16 zone, this is a lot that's 6,900 square feet. Again, it's not as deep as the lots that we had looked at previously. They only have 25 feet between the back of their house and their rear property line. So with only 25 feet in your backyard, you don't have the space to be able to build one of these detached units and meet the development standards in the proposed ordinance. So getting into the analysis of the proposed amendment and the general plan and what we've got in our housing and neighborhood section of our general plan, really Clearfield, the overall goal is Clearfield aspires to have a mix of housing choices and ownership opportunities available in Clearfield's neighborhoods. So there are objectives and strategies relevant to the housing and neighborhoods overall goal. One objective is to provide a range of housing types in Clearfield City and to the Clearfield community. So the relevant strategy that goes along with that included in the general plan is to evaluate and identify neighborhoods where detached ADUs may be best integrated as a strategy to expand affordable housing options. So staff's analysis is that the proposed amendment would allow for detached accessory dwelling units, which is a housing type that's not currently allowed in Clearfield. But this amendment process and all of the discussions provide the Planning Commission and the City Council the opportunity to identify how they can best be integrated into the city. And with that, the development standards of the proposed amendment are intended to support the successful integration of this new housing type into the community. With the Planning Commission recommendation to not have a minimum lot size requirement, I think what they were focusing on is that the development standards themselves will be able to guide the development of this new housing type in Clearfield City. And because there's such a difference and wide array of different lot sizes and types and houses where the house is placed, if there were a lot size requirement, there could be lots where it would be completely feasible, where then the homeowner just wouldn't have the opportunity because of that lot size requirement. So the Planning Commission, in their recommendation of approval, they did recommend option A, so no minimum lot size requirements. There were 5 that voted for the approval, and then 1 that voted against. The commissioner who voted against favored option B, having the lot size minimum, with comments to wanting to preserve the character of the existing neighborhoods, and also concerns about just additional congestion and I guess adding additional units to a neighborhood where it wasn't previously conceived in that way. So with the public hearing with the Planning Commission, there were a couple of residents who attended and made public comment on this proposed ordinance specifically. Both of those who commented preferred option A, and that was the only public comment that we had. I didn't receive any phone calls or any additional comments on that. So as far as the alternatives available to the City Council, The City Council would be able to approve the text amendment as recommended by the Planning Commission, deny the text amendment request, table the text amendment request to a specific date to request additional information, or the City Council could also choose to approve option B or some variation based on council discussion.
Thank you, Tyson. Go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in regards to detached ADUs? Okay.
Okay, seeing as there's no public comment, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that brings us to our open comment period. I don't have any forms from anyone to address the council tonight, but certainly want to give that opportunity if there is. Was there anyone here that's here to address the council? Okay, then we will move forward. Item number 6 is to consider approval of ordinance 2025-22 to amend trailer sales as a permitted use in the town mixed commercial district, the TC zone, with the development standards. Council, were there any questions or further discussion on this item? Okay, seeing none, then I'd entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll move to approve ordinance 2025-22, adding trailer sales as a permitted use in the town mixed commerce district, TC zone with development standards, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
And I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Roper?
Aye.
Councilmember Worth?
Aye.
Councilmember Ratchford?
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson?
Aye.
And Councilmember Peterson?
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Item number 7 is to consider approval of ordinance 2025-23, amending Title 11 of the Clearfield City Code, incorporating detached accessory dwelling units and development standards. Again, any further comment? We did discuss this in depth in our work session last week. Any further questions for Tyson or staff?
No, I just personally feel that the the option A actually is, when you look at it, one of the more stronger, most fair ones, because it seems like regardless of lot size, it's really about placement versus like actual size. So it actually makes the most sense.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that visual demonstration.
Yeah, it really illuminated a lot for me on that aspect of people who might be scared of over-densification.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move to approve ordinance 2025-23, amending Title 11 of the Clearfield City Code to incorporate detached accessory dwelling units and development standards, particularly option A, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Thompson?
Aye.
Councilmember Worth?
Aye.
Councilmember Peterson?
Aye.
Councilmember Ratchford?
Aye.
And Councilmember Roper?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Item number 8 is to consider approval of ordinance 2025-24, amending Title 4 Business and License Regulations. And Stacy's got this one.
It's been a long day, huh, Mayor?
It's been a long day. Even when you walked up, I still forgot that you had this one. So it's,
Okay, this one's not right. It's not plugging in here, maybe?
woohoo.
Okay, all righty. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I have in front of you proposed changes to Title IV, our business and license regulations. If you recall, we did have a discussion in work session back in August on some of these proposed changes. Majority of the changes are just due to be in line with state code, state requirements, clarify some existing language that's throughout our code, and then just kind of enhance the consistency throughout, not only Title IV, but the whole entire code, because some of these do overlap into Title 11. Based on the discussions from August 5th, some of the feedback that we did get was the ability to allow food trucks to set up in our parks when a resident or a non-resident chooses to reserve a pavilion. A lot of times they ask if they can have a food truck come in. So some of these changes that are listed here in Chapter 14 address those certain insurance requirements that they may need to have. If that's an option, that we do allow them to come onto city property. And then the only other thing that we really did discuss that wasn't already in there is allowing for mobile food trucks, mobile food vendors to have a small A-frame sign that they can put out, not in the right-of-way, but just a small A-frame sign to advertise their business, but it did have to be removed nightly after their food truck has ceased for the night. So with that, are there any questions that you have with the additional proposals that we put in there, or anything to clarify from the last discussion that we had in August?
Council, any questions? Okay. Well, thank you, Stacy.
Okay.
Seeing no questions, Council, I'd entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move to approve ordinance 2025-24, amending Title IV, Business and License Regulations, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
Ooh, now they're jumping at it. We have a motion in a couple of seconds. Councilmember Worth.
Aye.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Councilmember Ratchford.
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
And Councilmember Roper.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Item number 9 is to consider approval of ordinance 2025-25, adopting the water use and preservation plan element to the city's general plan. I know when we talked about this last week in our work session, there were a number of changes that we suggested and asked them to be able to include. We didn't think we'd be able to get that done in time for this evening, but they were actually able to get those in there that we discussed this last week. Have you had a chance to review those, Council, on those changes that we requested of them?
Yeah, I like a lot of what's in there. My only one question, I don't know if it's a question or a comment, is on the growth map, there's like 2 yellows. I don't know, and I know that seems nitpicky, but is there a way that I could like take 1 yellow away so it doesn't blend? Like I just can't. Like when you see the map, you'll see blue, and then you'll see the green. Like it looks like it's for green space, and then like it looks like there's like yellow blocks for like neighborhood growth. But that's like I don't know. Sorry, my eyes too close on that one.
There were 2 colors? I mean, I'm colorblind, so I didn't know.
I know what you mean, and we will fix that to make there just 1 yellow. I think it's where there might have been 2, like the same parcel was there twice, and so it's got 2 layers of yellow, which makes it look different. But we'll make that correction so that there's 1 yellow and 1 blue, and then the parks and open space areas are identified in green as well.
Okay. I just didn't know if that yellow bit like some type of neighborhood growth, or is just because it was like weird yellows.
Right.
Like,
No, it should be fixed, but it was in the interest of expediency. We should put that one in there. So.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And then just as a note, we did update the caption for that just to clarify that most of the growth and land use changes will be in downtown Clearfield and Clearfield Station. So.
Okay, other comments, Council?
I mean, I just think that's emblematic and why I want to highlight the work that Susie's done, that Tyson's done, their responsiveness to our feedback. When we talk long-term planning with our most precious resource, we have to be very intentional in how we address that. And I really appreciate everybody up here, their participation in the process, but really the work that's gone into this can't be forgotten about. Like, we really appreciate all that you do because it's critical in planning for the future of the city. So
I think the biggest victory that I see in this is the fact that we're going to grow, but we don't necessarily have to purchase more water to do so. That's just the tremendous amount of tax savings. I mean, itself can't be understated. I think that's, to me, the most encouraging thing about this plan.
Yeah, we own enough water shares to cover us. We just have to hope there's water there.
Yeah.
Yeah. To further
we own the shares. Maybe there's not water, but as long as there's water, we will have water.
Yes.
Okay. If there's no other questions, if someone wants to make a motion to address it.
And then just in the motion, if you do want us to include that proposed additional policy or strategy, just include that in the motion. And that was the last one that we covered about considering a water system, water resilience system, and an additional policy. Do you want me to bring that back up, JJ?
Well, yeah, that was a side note at the request of Councilmember Thompson. And the council as a whole hasn't had a chance to discuss that. If you'd like to.
I was going to actually bring that up too. Like the reality is, like, number one, I appreciate that effort. You know, the reality is I didn't even expect it to even come up that fast. So, so with that being said, you know, if you could put it back up so they can see, just basically my thought process was just, number one, anything that can deal with like how we think about resilience and risk and things like that. They try to bring certain principles for like credit worthiness and things like that. That was kind of my thought process with this angle. But I do appreciate like taking like my grandiose like positions and like condensing it, because that's exactly like. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. I read the whole thing there, and I thought, well, that's pretty good. I didn't have a problem with that. So
yeah, me too. I thought it was great. So like, I don't have any complaints or any critiques at all.
And I think what this does is set it up so that the city can consider establishing that more detailed policy, but it would, you know, I think be something that you would want to look at in more detail with your Public Works Department and, you know, think about with that impact fee facilities plan and all the infrastructure improvements that are already on the books, and then how that might change things. But this, it provides some guidance, but the general plan as a high level, you know, guiding framework probably isn't the right place for that level of detail, but it certainly can provide, you know, the foundation for the city to consider that in the future. So I think it's something that if the other council members feel comfortable adding this, you know, we can include that in the motion, or it's something that you can think about and certainly even just modify at your next session or after the first of the year. So I think from a timing perspective, it's up to you, but just wanted to draw attention back to that.
Yeah, and my defense, I thought I had more time because I thought it was going to be like next week. And so for me, just to all my colleagues, whether you guys accept this or not, I'm okay. It was just a thought process that I had in all this.
Okay.
I was missing a page. I'm like, I don't see 21.
Thoughts, council? Any concerns with it?
No.
Okay. Well, then I would entertain a motion.
Well,
now you're keeping quiet.
Well, no, it was the additional. Let me do this then. Make sure I'm looking at this. Your Honor, I'd move to approve ordinance 2025-25, adopting the water use and preservation plan element to the city's general plan. And I'm going to go with as is. I appreciate this additional strategy, but I think that'd be something to consider. And we could do that at a later time. And I'm comfortable with where it is right here. This is worthy of consideration, but I'd like to do that with consideration rather than just adopting it right now. So with that, I would put forward that motion and authorize the mayor's signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay. Councilmember Peterson?
Aye.
Councilmember Worth?
Aye.
Councilmember Roper?
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson?
Aye.
And Councilmember Ratchford?
So we're clear, that means we're taking this out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will address it at a later date.
Okay. Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you. And our item number 10 is to consider approval of Resolution 2025 R-14, authorizing an amendment to the Interlocal Cooperation Transportation Project Reimbursement Agreement with Davis County. Say that 3 times fast. Receive third quarter sales tax for the 500 West Extension project funding. It's all yours.
Thanks, Mayor. Good evening. In 2021, Davis County awarded $2 million to Clearfield City from the third quarter sales tax to go towards the 500 West Extension project. Thanks to some fortunate things happening on that project, and with the federal funding that we already had, we ended up only using $1,511,206.96 and not the full $2 million. In working with the officials from Davis County, we were able to use, they committed to allowing us to use the remainder of that money for the First Street extension that helps service and connect to the 500 West extension. But the terms on that original contract expired. Therefore, we're doing this contract amendment just so that we can restate the money that's allowed to us, and in order for us to receive the reimbursement back from the county in the total of $488,793.04.
Council, any questions for Braden? This might be the easiest of our motions tonight. We'd like to use the money somewhere else. I like that. Okay, then I would entertain a motion on this one.
This might be the easiest motion I ever make. I move to approve Resolution 2025-R-14, authorizing Amendment Number 1 to the Interlocal Cooperation Transportation Project Reimbursement Agreement to receive third quarter sales tax and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Councilmember Worth?
Aye.
Councilmember Roper?
Aye.
Councilmember Ratchford?
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson?
Aye.
Councilmember Peterson?
Aye.
That is unanimous. That brings us to our communication items. And man, it's a busy time of year. And it is only going to get busier between now and the end of the year. It's crazy. Got to spend some time in Houston with the America's Housing Comeback, and had some fantastic conversations. The realtors hosted it for us, and it was very good. In fact, they wrote it up in their magazine today, and wrote an article about it. Came out in their magazine today. So, City Summit this past week with the National League of Cities was very good. I would love to schedule and bring those guys in to teach this to our residents. This is the Dignity Index, and Tim Shriver came in to speak about it again, on how we deal with each other. And as we talk about hatred and anger, and it starts in our homes, it starts in our online, and it starts in a lot of different places, and it kind of bleeds over into everything else. And man, if there's a way to quell that and take care of anger in our community, it would be the best thing in the world. And if we could be the example to the world in that, we should be. Tomorrow, as part of that, we had a nice trip up with the Military Communities Council to tour Hill, and got to give a nice tour of what they do there. So I appreciate and thank the folks up at Hill Air Force Base for making that possible for us to show off Hill to other mayors and council members from across the country. They were impressed, and it was a very fun trip. Tomorrow, I am serving lunch to the airmen at Hill. It's our Thanksgiving lunch, so we'll be up serving lunch to them. I am out of town the 1st through the 4th for Mayors Against Anti-Semitism, and then back out of town again the 7th through the 9th for mayors and CEOs for U.S. housing investment, making it back just in time for a tour with 47G of Northrop Grumman and lunch with the mayor that afternoon. So, and then it just gets busy, it keeps going. So it's a fun time of year. So with that, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope that you enjoy it. My entire family is coming in, all of my kids, all of my grandkids, which is a lot of people in one space. That's all I've got. Councilmember Peterson?
Thank you. I echo your comments on City Summit. It was awesome to be there, and we are so grateful to have JustServe. You guys are troopers for staying here for a very lengthy meeting right there. We are just about done, but it was great. We appreciate you doing that. Oh, we appreciate that. Thank you. And just a special appreciation to our staff. We recognize that there's going to be a lot of members of our organization that may be away from their families over the holiday, either in regularly scheduled shifts overnight or on call with our infrastructure and the needs throughout the city. So to all of those who will be away from their families to protect or to serve ours, you have our appreciation. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Thompson?
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Ratchford?
All right, so in October, we had 407 calls for the North Davis Fire District. Of those calls, Station 42 had 309, and Station 41 had 98, so we were quite busy at the North Davis Fire District. We also have two things going on. There is a cookie drive for Team Hill Airmen. If you guys would like to participate, please drop a cookie tray off either to the True by Hilton, or you can go into the gate at the Airman's Attic and drop it off no later than December 8th. And the update with the donations and the support that the community has done, you were able to raise over 70,000 pounds of food and supplies to over 800 Air Force families. So it is an extremely big accomplishment. Thank you, guys.
You want to describe the cookie drive a little more?
Yes.
Do you have that there?
Mm-hmm. So Team Hill Airmen is the cookie drive is going to be December 8th, 2025. Drop-off is anywhere between 6 to 10 a.m. at the landing, or it could be at the True by Hilton, and then we'll have somebody from inside the gate pick it up. Join us in banking up a storm of support for our amazing airmen, help us reach our goal of 6,000 cookies for the annual holiday cookie drive, supporting the airmen at Hill Air Force Base. We're asking for donations of the best homemade cookies. Drop them off with us, and we'll do the rest. This is truly a gift of love from the military and local community.
This is an awesome event that we do every year with Hill, and it's that's a massive amount of cookies.
6,000.
Yeah. So if you want to bring some cookies to the airmen, now's your chance.
Okay.
Okay, Councilmember Worth.
I just want to remind everybody of 2 upcoming public hearings for proposed tax increases for other jurisdictions. So next Tuesday, December 2nd at 6 p.m. at the county building in Farmington, the county commission will be doing their public hearing for the county's portion of the proposed tax increase. And then the Thursday following that, December 11th at 7 p.m., the Mosquito Abatement District at their office in Kaysville will be doing their public hearing for that tax increase. If that's something you want to participate in, that is your opportunity to have your voice be heard. And then I just want to share a sentiment of gratitude with Thanksgiving coming up. Just deep appreciation for everybody who stepped up in the wake of the government shutdown, the impacts that had on our community. Local service partners like JustServe, Open Doors, who filled the void when paychecks weren't available for people who needed it. City staff and everyday people who stepped up for people in times of crises, just to keep the social fabric of this community together. I'm deeply appreciative for everyone who took the time to make an effort on that regard, and the continued opportunity for myself to serve alongside you all. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone and your families, and we'll pick it up next month.
Thank you. Councilmember Roper?
I just wanted to let everybody know that Open Doors is having a holiday luncheon on December 3rd from 12 to 1:30 at Texas Roadhouse. We're looking to purchase toys and food for the holiday season for our families. $50 sponsorship feeds sponsors a family meal or holiday gifts for one child. $100 can sponsor a family meal and gifts for one child. $150 sponsors a family meal and gifts for 2 children, and a $200 sponsors a family meal and gifts for 3 children. So we just wanted to spread the word about that and are looking to help our families out.
What was the date on that?
December 3rd.
Okay. Staff reports, JJ?
Yeah, I have on my desk the latest issue of Utah Business Magazine, wherein our very own Dakota Worth is highlighted as one of 20 in their 20s. So shout out to Dakota. Nice.
Appreciate that.
On Monday evening, we have our tree lighting ceremony. If there's anything that Eric would like to add to that, I'll let him come up in a minute. But we're looking forward to that. And Tim, I understand you're going to be filling in for the mayor on that, right?
I was asked to, so I said yes.
And bringing up his family to light the tree, like to turn the lights on.
I have a 7-year-old boy that's very excited for that. So
love it.
Had a good meeting today with UDOT. We get together 2 or 3 times a year just to coordinate, and that's good. Maintains good relationships, even though sometimes decisions that they make are not what we would rather have done, but so it goes. We are coordinating with Steve Hyatt to get a tour together with our legislators so that we can just take them around town in the bus that we've got, the shuttle bus, and maybe that would give us an opportunity maybe to include other city council members if you'd like. But we're figuring out what date that'll be. We'll keep you posted on that. And of course, with the Thanksgiving Day holiday, we're closed Thursday and Friday this week as far as City Hall goes. And I agree, Nika, thanks for the shout out to those employees that will have to work on the holidays. That's all I had. Thanks.
Thank you. Nancy?
Just our schedule through the end of the year, we do not have a meeting next Tuesday, but we will have work session and policy session on December 9th. That will be our last meeting of the year. The oath of office ceremony will be on January 5th at 6 p.m. in this room, and then we'll have a dinner for the elected officials and their families downstairs. So that's all I have.
Okay. Any other staff reports? Eric?
JJ mentioned the tree lighting. that's next Monday at 6 o'clock, right out here. We've got some new decorations. We're pretty excited to see all lit together in the evening. Our second most important guest after Councilmember Roper will show up at 6:15 on the back of a fire engine, go back over to the Art Center. The kids will be able to visit with him for a moment, and that's Santa, of course.
I thought it was JJ. That was cool. That was
you looked questioning, so I had to answer that. And they'll be able to write letters to him as well. That season's coming up quick. And that's all I had. I just wanted to add that.
And the new decorations out there look pretty cool. I can't wait to see them lit. So
It looks pretty good. They did a good job this year.
Yeah.
And every year.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other staff reports? Okay. Seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
You want to post this? Okay. It's kind of like a copy screenshot from an email. I can email it. Actually,
You got it digitally.
I
That's
do.
even better.
Good doing that. Text from Joy.
I'm glad you know that.
That's all that was going through my head.
Oh, man. You just impressed me twice tonight. You know, the fact that you knew the Brendan Fraser, not just the one movie, but both. You know, it's hard. I mean, most people know Encino Man. I mean, they shouldn't, but they do. That might be one of the dumbest movies ever made.
It really sticks.
Yeah, you can't unsee